Hello, welcome back. I'm Andreas Schatt, your tech-curious web designer. In this video, we will add an inbox to our web app so people can send each other private messages. Additionally, we will also implement notification alerts so they see when they have a new message. And finally, we will also encrypt the messages so they stay truly private, even for admins who have access to the database. But first, let me give you a quick demo.
So I'm here on my published website at awesomepix.com, and as you can see here, the blue dot indicates to me I have a new message. And if I click on it, I go to my inbox, where I see I have new messages for both of my conversations. Let's have a look at Luna. And as you can see here, the moment I clicked on the link, the notification alert disappeared. And if I click on Andreas now, also the notification on my inbox link just disappeared, because I've seen all my messages. Now let's add here a reply. How are you doing? Good luck. And I send a message. And as you can see, it even maintained the formatting of the text. And in the left panel, the conversation moved to the top position, as it contains the latest message. Now let's check out the inbox also of Andreas Schatt. Now in this inbox, I received the message I just sent. And if I click on the conversation, I see the message. So now instead of replying, I create a new message up here. Here I can find a user. This is the user I want to send a message to. Like that. Send this message. And you can see it appeared in my conversation. Let's switch back. Now if I refresh the page here, I will see the message, but I don't see the notification. But if I, for example, switch to Luna here for a second, I can see here I have a new message. I click on it, and I can see the reply. Now let's have a quick look at the database in our admin panel. So if I go to my inbox messages, and if I click on one, you can see that the data here is not mutable, and the message in the body is encrypted, so not even the admin has access to this private conversation. There's one other place where we can write a message from. If you go to the profile page, you can also write a message by clicking on this little icon here. Send message, and it goes straight to my inbox. There you go. Alrighty, enough of the demo. Let's get to work now. So let's first activate the virtual environment in case it's not switched on yet with source venv/bin/activate. And now let's create a new app for this new inbox feature. And this time I organize the files so it's really a standalone component. So I can reuse it easily in other projects. And for this we keep the template files and the url.py file within the app folder, for example. Okay, let's start our new app. So Python manage.py start app. And we call our app a_inbox. And enter. Now we have to add this app to our settings file. So in core, settings.py, under installed apps, we add here, comma, a_inbox. Save the file. Now let's create a templates folder in our newly created inbox folder. So inbox, we create a new folder called templates. So the structure here is the same as in our other templates folder, meaning we have to create another folder with the name of our app. This is important because when we get our project ready for production, Django collects all the static files and saves them into one folder. So to avoid conflicts, we create a_inbox folder now inside our templates folder. And now let's add a file. We call this file inbox.html. Alright, so I prepared some source code for this file. This source code is available for my patrons. So if you are a patron of mine, you can go to patreon.com/AndreasJudd and find a link there to files for this project. So let's add in first the boilerplate for this layout. We extend from the D layout, then we load in the static tag, and here's our content block, and in here we add the code now. Okay. Let's save this file. Now let's create our view. So this is a simple view to show the template. Let's also add the login required decorator here on top. And let's import it as well. Okay, save this file. Let's go to our URLs. So here we include our path. But instead of adding all the paths in this file, we make a connection to the URLs in our newly created inbox folder. So with this include function here, we include all the path declaration we will store in the URLs file in our app folder. And all our URLs will start with inbox/. Okay, save this file and close this file now. Then let's go to our inbox folder and create a new file called urls.py. Here first we have to import the path. So from Django.urls import path. Then we have to import the views. So from .views import everything. And now let's add the URL patterns in here. And my first path is the inbox path. That's why it's empty here. So it's just domain/inbox. And it's calling the inbox_view function. All right, save this file. Now let's also make sure that no user is taking the inbox username. So let's go to our settings file and add inbox to our list here. All right, save this file. Now let's add the inbox link to our header. So the header is in our templates folder. It includes header.html. So here we have the home, create post. So we can include it after the create post link here. I just add here another li and include here the link to our inbox. Okay, save this file. And let's check out the site. Let's spin up the server. Python manage.py run server. And here we go to localhost :8000. Now let's sign in. Let's click on the inbox link. And here we have our inbox template. We can see here a conversation with Cookie Monster Pete, and on the left panel a list of all conversations. Okay, let's create the code now. First, let's create our tables. So we go to the models.py file, and here we create our inbox message class. So this class has the following properties. So the sender, this is the user who sends the message. Let's import the user model. Okay. So next one we have the conversation. This is linked to our conversation table, which we define in a second. And because we define it underneath this class, we put it in brackets. So each message is part of a conversation. That's why we create here a conversation property. And the related name for this conversation property is messages. So with conversation.messages.all, we fetch all the messages belonging to a conversation. Then we have the body property, which is just a text field. And we have the creator property with a date time field when this message was created. Now let's add the meta class for the ordering. We want to display the messages from the latest to the oldest. So that's why minus created here. And we also add a string representation of this class for our admin panel. And here I would like to show the username, colon, and then I want to display how much time passed since this message was created. For this I create this time_since variable here. And is using the time since function, which basically is an inbuilt function, which takes in the time when this message is created, and the time right now, and it calculates the time passed since then. Let's import time since and time zone. Like that. And we have completed the message class. Let's create now the conversation class, which we need in here. We add here an ID property with the UUID package, because this ID will be shown in our URL. So I want to display a more robust ID. Let's import this UUID library on top. Then in this conversation class we have the participants. This is a many-to-many field with the user class. In our case we only have 2 participants in each conversation, but potentially it could be more. And we can fetch all the conversation belonging to a user with conversations. Then we also have a property called last_message_created. This property we will use when we order the conversations in regards when the last message was sent. So this will be the left panel in our inbox. And we have a default here of time zone now. So this is similar to the auto now add equals true argument. The difference is this one you can change. So we will update this property whenever a new message is added to the conversation. And then we also have a property is_seen. This represents a Boolean value, so false or true, and just states if all the participants have seen this conversation or not. And by default we set it to false. Let's add our meta class for the ordering. We want to order it by the last message created, from the latest to the oldest, and also the string representation. I just want to show the usernames who are the participants in this conversation. So here I'm grabbing all the participants of this conversation. Then I have here a loop. So for each user in this list of participants, I want to display user.username. So this gives me a list of usernames, and with this join function, I join them together with a comma. Alright, so now our model classes are declared. Let's save this file. Let's register them now so they show up in our admin panel. Let's go to our admin.py file. Then we import here the models. So from .models import everything. Then we first register the inbox message class and also the conversation. Alright, save this file. So now it's time for the migration. Shut down the server first, so we Ctrl+C. Then we do Python manage.py make migrations. Python manage.py migrate. And we spin up the server again with Python manage.py run server. Okay, let's head over to our admin panel. And as you can see here, we have our conversations and our inbox messages table created. So first, let's create a conversation. Add a new conversation. So this is a conversation between user 1 and user 2. And save. Okay, our conversation is created. Now let's go to our inbox messages. Let's add a new message. Sender is user 1. I select the conversation and I add a message. Hello there. Okay, save. Now let's add another one. This time user 2, same conversation, and he replies with ciao. And save. Okay, let's display those messages now in our inbox. So we go to our views.py file. Now let's first grab this conversation. We have only one conversation so far, so we can say just pick the first conversation in our conversation table. Let's import the model classes now. Now we add here context and add the context to our return statement. Like that. Save this file. Now let's go to our inbox.html. So here we find the conversation. So here we have our conversation container. Let's clean up this template and cut the conversation code out from here and create a separate file. So I cut it, create a new file in our templates folder in here. I call it conversation.html and paste the code in here. Okay, let's save. And in the inbox.html, I include the conversation like that. All right, save this file. Now let's go back to conversation.html. And let's add now the loop. So here we have the LIs of the conversation. We only need one element, so we can cut those two. And here we create our loop now. So for message in conversation.messages.all. So here we grab all the messages from this conversation and loop through each message. And we close it with N4. All right. Now let's add our variables in here. So here we have the message.body. Here we have our message created time. Here we calculate how much time has passed since then. We can easily do that in Django by just adding this time since tag, and it will calculate for us the time. Then we have the name here of the user, which we get from our profile table. And here we have our username. We also change the avatar. Here we have the avatar image. And this avatar image is also clickable. It links out to the user's profile page. Okay, save this file and let's have a look. I refresh the page. And there we go. We see our two messages. So user 2 added the last message, so it's on top. But in this list of messages, we would like the last message to be at the bottom. So we can just add here in the loop, reversed. Like that. So save. Okay. Now our latest message is at the bottom. And the page will scroll down automatically to have it in view. Okay, next up, let's create the conversation list here. Let's create first the logic for this in our views.py file. And let's create a new variable here. So my conversations, which is accessing the conversation table again, but it's filtering out all the messages if the request.user, which is the logged in user, is included in the participants. And then we order also this list by the last message created, which actually we can leave away because it's already ordered in our model class. Okay. Now let's add this my conversation variable to the context. So comma and my conversations, like that. All right, save this file. Now let's go back to our inbox.html. Let's find the conversation list, which is here. Again, we cut them out here and create our own file. So cut. And we call this new file my_conversations. And paste it in here. Let's include it in the inbox file. Include it in here. Save, and let's get back. Here again we create our loop. So we can delete those two elements here. And here we say for C, which stands for conversation. So for C in my conversations, let's close the loop first with N4. And now in here, I would like to display the user I have this conversation with. So I have to loop through each participant, excluding the logged in user. So first I'm looping here through all the participants in my conversation. So c.participants.all. And then I add an if statement here. So if the participant is not the logged in user, I would like to show the avatar and the username. And then I also close the if and the loop. Like that. We add here the name variable and also the avatar. Okay, save this file. And now we see the user. Let's also change the avatar in here. So that's in our conversation.html file. So also here we create the same loop. We fetch all the participants of this conversation. And then we check if this participant is not the logged in user. So here we add the name, the username, the avatar. Then we have also the profile link in here. Okay, and before we forget it, we have to close the if statement and the for loop. Okay, save this file and let's check it out. Refresh the page. And our user is now displayed. Great. So let's add another conversation in here. I add this again in the admin panel. Let's create a conversation. We add user 1 in here and user 3. So if you click the command key on your keyboard, you can select more items. Okay, and save. Now let's create a new message. This time user 3 is the sender and conversation is between user 1 and user 3. And this user says, Guten Tag. All right, save. And let's check out the website. Refresh. Great. We can see here the conversation with the latest message is the first in the list, and the new message is displayed here. So let's make our conversations clickable now. At the moment they don't have any link yet. So let's go to our views.py file. And let's include here the conversation ID. So comma, conversation ID equals none. So equals none is just a default. So we can use this function also when we don't have a conversation ID. Then we get rid of this line here. And then we add here if statement. So if there is a conversation ID, get this object 044. Let's import this function. This is part of the shortcuts. So comma here. Like that. So here we're accessing my conversations object, which are just the conversations of the logged in user. And then we retrieve the conversation with the supplied ID number. All right, and then we can say else If you don't have a conversation ID number provided, the conversation is none. Okay, save this file. Let's create a path now. So let's go now to the urls.py file within this inbox folder, and let's add our second path in here. So this path is built up with the C, this stands for conversation, /, and then we have the conversation ID value. And then we name this path also inbox. So Django will go through here line by line. If we get an inbox request without a conversation ID, it chooses this path. Otherwise, when we have a conversation ID, it will choose this one. Okay, save this file. Now let's go to the My Conversations file. This is the left panel in my inbox. And here we have a link here, which we haven't defined yet. So in here, we add URL to the inbox, and we supply this conversation ID. So the C is coming from this variable we declare here. Okay, save this file, and let's check it out. Refresh the page. So if I click on Zozo here, I have the conversation open in my panel. And now I can switch between the conversations. Let's make now that the highlight stays on the selected conversation. So let's go back to the code. We're adding here a class with a condition. So we check here if the active conversation is equal to C, so this conversation object in the loop. And if this is true, then display this gray background. Okay, save this file. Refresh the page. And as we can see, the conversation is now highlighted. Now let's fix the inbox when we don't have a conversation. So on this page, we would like to hide the reply button and also displaying some content in here. Okay, let's go to our conversation.html file. So here on top we can say, if we have a conversation, display its content and the reply button. Else, we display a text. So we can display this line here, and we close it with end if. Now let's add a bit of styling to this message. I would like to display it in the middle of the page and also in gray. So I wrap it in a div, I give it some classes, so full height, and change it to a flex element so I can position it vertically and horizontally in the center. Then I give it a gray color and add some margin and padding to it as well. Alright, and let's move the closing div under the text, like that. Okay, save this file and check it out. I refresh the page and we have our text here. Nice. So this is all for today. Thank you for watching. In the next one, we will work again with htmx to implement the logic for creating a new message and the notification alerts. I will see you then. In the meantime, happy coding!